Hi, my name is Jarod Carter and I have a successful cash-based physical therapy practice. And this video is a walkthrough, a tour of a platform that has now taken all the components of lead generation and nurture, taking a patient through the entire sales funnel, patient life cycle for you, and taken it and put it on one platform. I just spent about 3 years piecing together on multiple platforms a number of lead generation campaigns, and I'm glad I did it, but I cringe at the amount. It was so much work, so much time, and I spent so much money having others help me to put it together as well. What PatientSites.com with their LeadAutom8r platform has done for you is unbelievable, and it's all given to you at a low monthly rate, especially when you consider that ready to go Facebook and Google ad campaigns are connected to each of the lead generation campaigns. Again, all done for you. You can edit and change anything that you want. You can subscribe to other campaigns that other people have done and created and had success with. For instance, all 4 of my lead generation campaigns and nurture campaigns are on there for subscription. But it is completely turnkey, but also as editable as you want to. Plus, you can also make your own campaigns, and you're not trying to piece things together from Leadpages and Infusionsoft or Aweber and all this stuff. So this video will walk you step by step. It's a tour that the CEO of PatientSites, Scott Waddell, has kind of taken me through, and we recorded it. And you'll see every bit of the way what's done for you, as well as how you would edit things if you would like to do that at all. If you do want to check it out in even more detail, or you want to sign up and get started, just visit PatientSites.com. Make sure you mention that you heard of them from me, and you'll get a really nice discount to get started.
So that's the whole idea of content packs, is that everything you need, from the ad campaign to the landing pages to the drip emails to the ebooks, is all there and ready to go. So how about we kind of dig into this a little bit and go through the system?
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, so I'm going to first start with the campaign engine. So for those that are familiar with the concept of drip campaigns, so this is where we're going to be sending people a series of time-delayed emails, and there's a couple of different use case scenarios in here. One will be a lead generation, and the other will be event-based. So event-based, for an example, would be your onboarding, your onboarding campaign, right? So let's start, for example, and take a look at a running injury campaign. So this is Jarod from yours. I'm going to click on the edit view here. And this is going to take us into essentially our drip canvas system. So you'll see there's a series of emails that are numbered. We have a couple that go out after somebody signs up. The idea here at the gray box, some event has initiated the person registering. And we'll go into a couple of examples shortly, but that could be filling in a lead box or a pop-up box on your website. It could also be filling in a lead page form, or it could be by virtue of you capturing information offline and you trigger it manually, right? Mm-hmm. But the idea is somebody signs up that there's an event that happens, and then you've got a series of emails that go out. So there's an email that has, for example, the report that they've signed up for, and generally these are written to be very friendly, very approachable. It's from one person to the recipient, and we have inside our editor, you can go into any one of the emails that are inside the system. So for example, Jarod, I know you've got this making sure one, and you're saying, hey, just making sure that you got the report. So you wanted to go in and type away, you can go in and add your own copy, right, to further customize the content of any of those emails. And the idea of the drip marketing system is all the emails essentially are time delayed. So if I go from email 5 to email 6, you'll see there's a 2-day delay here. If a clinic wanted to make that, for example, a 3-day delay or a 1 delay, you could. Mm-hmm. We also have the ability to trigger certain events out of emails if an action is taken. So, for example, on this particular email here, we've got a green line that comes out. So we say if a person clicks on a link in a particular email, then they're going to receive something specific, right?
That's cool.
And our canvas is very flexible. Like we can, drag and move these boxes around. And if somebody wanted to add their own email, right, I'm going to do a test, go my own email. They can go and type one in. It'll put it onto the canvas, and we could say, for example, if we wanted to keep this going, come in and connect another one here, right, and just build, as you want to build in your own version. So it's very, very flexible, very visual, and very easy to build from.
Yeah.
So that's a quick view of the campaign engine from a drip marketing standpoint. I'll go back to the campaign tab, and we look at new patient onboarding and treatment. We'll look at the same system, but from a different vantage point. So in this scenario, the starting box is in the middle, right? That's because the starting box is not tied to somebody having signed up for information. It's tied to an event, such as attending a seminar where everybody comes on the same date, the same time, or coming out for a first appointment, or coming for a phone consultation, whatever it is, there's a certain date and a time that this event happens. And the system will trigger, we've got these series of purple emails on the left-hand side, and these are triggered times before. So for example, 4 days before the event, this email will go out. 2 days before the event, this email will go out. And then 4 hours before, and it could be 6, whatever you want to change it to. It's very simple to click on these boxes and set your time intervals. This one will go out. And you can add more, right? You can have more or less. It doesn't matter, right? But in this scenario, we've got 3. And then we have the event itself. And then we have a delay that says, okay, after the event, 1 day. And again, that day could be, in minutes, hours, or days. So completely customizable. And then we have a series of emails that come out here. So this can be used in a couple of ways. So we have in the scenario of your onboarding campaign, the one that you put together, Jarod, all of your emails are in here and ready to go and can be customized. But clinics that subscribe to our platform can also use this canvas to build their own campaigns, either for lead nurture or for event-based communications. So if you're having a seminar, you've got a running clinic, whatever you want to do, and you want to put together your own campaign based on those kind of time delays, you can do that, right?
Yeah.
So there's 2 different use scenarios from the campaign engine. So now to get into a campaign, there's a few different ways that it can happen, right? So we talk about, let's start with lead boxes, for example. So I've got one sample lead box that we put in here. I'm going to pop this up. So we built a really simple to edit lead box creator, right? So I have one here that's designed for running injuries. And clinics can create their own lead boxes. All of our content packs of lead boxes are ready to go. If somebody wanted to come in and make changes, right, there's, very, very simple to go in and, select your colors at different areas. If you want to modify the text, I can go into my content area and, type, away, if you want to put something else in, you can modify whatever is going to be on that lead box. If you want to get your free ebook, if you want to say sign up now, right? It's very visual. And what's super cool though about this is the way that we built our system so that everything is very tightly integrated, right? So when I go into my after submit actions, I'm going to go in and say, okay, what happens when somebody fills this in, right? Well, I'm going to come in here and I can say I can send them an email and it'll give me a list of emails. I can go say I want to run a campaign. Well, now we're talking automatically to our campaigns tab, right? And it's going to let me know which campaigns are available, right? And I select one, and then immediately after filling this form in, that person's registered for a campaign. Now, if this lead box, for example, was for registering for an event, then it would automatically queue when they start getting the emails relative to the event. If it was set up for a lead generation campaign like this running one, then it'll send them an email, however long we've just prescribed it to start after the form fills, and then start building from there, right?
Yeah.
And we've got very detailed trigger settings, so you can trigger these lead boxes to pop up. Like I know that, Jarod, you have them on a number of places on your site, but if you want to be specific, you could say, for example, let's say you've got a page on your website that's got running involved. You can add a new trigger and say, okay, if the web page address contains, let's say, /running, because that's in your web page address, then you want to have that pop-up box appear on load. But you may add another trigger that says, okay, on other pages, we want it to appear on click, meaning there would be a button, right? So it wouldn't be as obtrusive if it wasn't maybe a natural fit to the content somebody's reading. So you can fire multiple triggers to load these lead boxes.
That's so cool.
Okay. And then another way people can get into the campaign. So we're talking about how do you get into the drip campaign system. Another obvious one is Leadpages. And we built our own kind of lead page engine here. Now this is all loading, presenting here from a test account. So I'll show a couple shared. First of all, take a look at like a back pain phone consultation one. So if I click on this tab, it'll open it in a new window. And so this one, Jarod, is you get your phone number at the top. It's Carter Physical Therapy. And we've got some copy, a button to sign up for a free phone consultation. Now, even from a coloring standpoint, in your case, we can modify these, but use a lot of dark blues and light blues. We apply master settings at the account level so that if we deploy a new content pack with a landing page, the colors of the lead box, the colors of even the iconography on the landing pages are automatically borrowed, right, to match that of the clinic.
Okay, cool.
It also pulls in, for example, the staff, right? And we don't actually go and punch this stuff into the landing pages. We have a settings area where you'll say, okay, input your staff, input some testimonials, set your color settings, and whenever we deploy these landing pages, we have the content that's around the topic. All the back pain content, for example, is already put in place, but all the branding and testimonials and staff gets sucked right out of the content management tool, right?
Okay, very cool.
And you talk, for example, like, so if somebody clicked up at the top, right, I'm interested in a phone consultation, it takes them right to the form. So when should we call you? How'd you hear about us? And, and then that would automatically, drive that person to the drip campaign. We'll pull up another one here, which is the 5 must ask questions one that you had looked at. So again, I'm going to click a new tab and that will open here. So in this one, we've got a combination, a couple of different response mechanisms. One is to download this report on 5 must questions. One of the things we do in a lot of landing pages is even if there is an ebook, we'll insert something like, are you in a lot of pain today? You want to talk? Because sometimes you may find, you may attract somebody who's actually, a little closer to what we call the bottom of the funnel. And if, we want to maybe have a couple of different options. So you can download the report, or if you want to talk to us, you can go ahead and do that. If I come down here, you were talking about the fact that we can use placeholders, right, to merge fields in these emails. So for example, on these, these are 5 vital questions you should ask of any treatment option. That's the ebook for somebody signing up for. This could be done on a page or on a pop-up. But you have, for example, where does it hurt the most? How does your pain limit you from doing certain things, running, standing, walking, exercising, etc., right? So if the person clicked in, put here, for example, knee, and they said it's stopping me from, running, then from a merge field standpoint, in those follow-up drip emails, we can reference the fact that, we hope your knee pain, is, slowly improving. If it's still impacting your ability to run because we grabbed it from that form, those will automatically go in there.
And it took a long time when I developed that, looking at the specific use of the word. So running, sleeping, walking, and then in the emails, knowing that merge field, that running is going to work. It doesn't need the word run,
for sure.
Get you back to running without knee pain, It took a lot of back and forth, but we did it. So.
Right. And so I've gone in here and I'll tie into your comment there in a second when I show the form editor. So this is the actual landing page administration tool. So everything that you saw from a front end standpoint can easily be modified. So if you click on a text box and type away, right, you can modify the content of any part visually of these landing pages. We can change logos, we can change phone numbers. So it's all designed to be content ready. We automatically generate the coloring of the ebooks to match, like we talked about the brand colors, right? These images on the ebooks are dynamically changed, right, depending on whatever the color settings are for one particular clinic. So I'm going to hop down to the bottom and show you kind of how we do, for example, those merge fields. So if I come down here, so we've got your options. So, you're running, you're sitting, you're standing, you're sleeping, right? So those are all loaded at the bottom. So if I come up to we have a detailed version of our editor where we can actually go into, now we got maybe a little more complex, but into the form system, but it's very simple to load. So this form editor shows you all of the options of that particular form. So first name, email, phone number, where do you hurt the most? How does your pain and injury limit you? A message. If you wanted to add a new text field, like a new kind of form field, it's super simple to insert that, right? Just go and put whatever you like, right? We're not asking for last name, but if we wanted to insert last name, we can go ahead and do that. I'm going to give it an ID number of 12, so it goes between first name and email, for example, so that appears. So you can modify these forms easily. But over to how we use the merge fields. So in the merge fields area, I'm going to go to the one here. It says, where do you hurt the most? So if I click this little icon, basically it's going to reveal a placeholder, right? Or a merge field. and it's going to tell me that I can use that merge field in any email tied to this form. So wherever I copy this content, user responds, where do you hurt the most? I put it in any follow-up email. It's going to grab whatever value the user selected from this field, right? So clinics can build these merge fields on their own too. It's not like there's not some complex method of coding that can only be done by us. It's super simple. If you want to create your own set of drop-down options and say, based on what the person inserted, we want to be able to use a merge field, that's all readily available. Mm-hmm. Okay, and if you're working with a web developer, basically what you just saw here, we have a code view for everything we build. So if you have a web developer that really wants to get under the hood, they can do that. And then we have the visual view, right? If you want to just click and make changes on the fly, right?
Mm-hmm. One thing I just jump in there, just because a lot of people aren't probably familiar with the whole use of merge fields and stuff. And you saw, body part area and limitation. That's one of the ways I use it. But other ways would just be like common objections to starting treatment.
Right.
Had a bad experience with a former physical therapist, or had a bad experience with another practitioner. Not sure if PT will help. Not, you can kind of have merge fields like that, and they select one of those, and then that gets spliced into your email as if you were listening to them and directly answering their actual primary complaints and primary objections. It's really powerful.
Yeah, so I just added that one here, concerns about treatment, and I go, reason 1, right? And you would just go and list whatever it is that you want to have, right? And again, having just built that one, it also generates that merge field. So there's a merge field for what are your concerns for treatment. We can go and apply that right away to any of the follow-up emails.
Yeah.
Okay. And then back to the fact that these forms also drive you directly into the campaign system. So we have our after submit functionality. It says, okay, what happens when the form is submitted from the lead page? Same thing as the lead boxes. Do you want to send an email? Do you want to run a campaign? Do you want to schedule an event, right? And so if it's run a campaign, it's going to immediately populate all of the campaigns that exist in the system. If it's schedule an event, this will come from, if you've got events for, running workshop, back pain workshops, whatever it may happen to be, it'll automatically tie them to the sending of the emails related to those particular events. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to just close out of this pop-up. So that's our lead page editor. And when we talk about, actually, I'll show you something kind of cool. Well, one of the things that we're doing from a conversion standpoint, so I'm going to open, I think I've got 5 most asked questions open here. So there's a couple of different response mechanisms. So on a landing page, you may download an ebook, right? If it's an ebook-based one, you may click, set up a phone consultation. Those are 2 response mechanisms. And what's critically important in lead marketing is that you try to close the loop on your conversions, right? So whether somebody calls, whether they download a form, you want to know how people are responding. So these 2 are forms, and we'll obviously track the conversions of that from somebody hit the page. We are also testing right now live chat. So for example, this page has got a little live chat at the bottom. The person can engage, right? Well, we've built a really tightly integrated live chat system that will do a couple of interesting things. So it'll read the page that the user's on, and we will log the fact that that chat occurred on this landing page. So that becomes another method of tracking a response or a lead that dictates from that chat system. In the chat software, we even have the ability to click a couple of quick buttons that would say, is the person who's chatting an existing patient, yes or no? If they're not an existing patient and they ask a follow-up, we now know that's a lead, right? So we can actually flag the chats that actually become leads from the system. So we have that mechanism, and then we have, up here at the top, Jarod, I believe that's your clinic number, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'll show you something. This is the, I'll show you something that we do from a phone tracking standpoint. So back to the administration tool, I'm going to go to settings, and I'm going to go to phones. And we built this right into our system. So I'm going to go and, so let's say, build a new phone tracking number. So, and you are 512. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to search 512. It's going to go and give me available numbers that I can use to actually track people that are calling from that landing page, right? Mm-hmm. So it'll give me a series of numbers. So let's say I like the one that ends in 5703. I'm going to say this number is for a landing page, and it's going to say which landing page, right? Mm. And then I'll come in here and let's say, Let's say it's 5 must-ask questions or back pain phone consults. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to say forward it to. And if you've got more than one number, it's going to tell us where to forward to. So if somebody dials that tracking number on 5 must-ask questions, it's going to go to that, to your destination number, right? We have a small fee. It's like $3 a month for a tracking number. So that's automatically been implemented, right? So if I come back here and refresh the page, immediately the landing page has been replaced with that tracking phone number, right? So now on this page, we're tracking every call. We're tracking a live chat, which is something that we're testing out. We're tracking the download, free report download, which also has the merge fields. And if somebody is on the page and they're like, man, I'm just really in a lot of pain, if they click this button, let's just do a phone consult, obviously we're tracking that too, right? So you've got multiple response. Pardon?
I want to jump in here too, because me included for a long time, was kind of that repeating what I had heard all the time of, on these landing pages that you should have basically one call to action, one thing. But I think that especially since our most recent interview, it makes total sense to give more options, because quite frankly, you're not going to have someone, or of all the people that are coming to the page, you're going to have some people in different kind of components or parts of their journey, right? Some, like you said, that are in a lot of pain and would be willing to call right away. But some are, it's not that bad, but they're there for a reason. And you know what, let me get this free information. I don't really want to get on the phone. Right. And so I don't think that offering any longer, that offering more than one option doesn't make sense, because I think you lose a lot of people who aren't at that exact point in would you say the sales funnel or the decision making process. You'll lose a lot if all you're saying is, hey, call us now, and they're not ready to do that, or hey, here's your free ebook, but they really are ready to talk to someone.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Now, different people, you may be working with different agencies that have got different standpoints, but the technology we're going through today will work on any number of pages. So if you really feel, what, we just want to narrow the person into one particular call to action, we've got page formats that will do that. Personally, I'm a fan of respecting, the decision-making process, and that there's people that are in research mode. There's people that are in I need help now mode. There's people that may, hey, you know what, I'm just asking a little question. I'm going to, talk to somebody. There's a little chat thing here. But what's critically important is that all of those things are tightly monitored and tightly tracked, which is one of the biggest problems with lead marketing is the leaky bucket, right? And you look at your results and you say, oh man, the results were terrible. But we'll come back and say, well, a lot of people will do landing pages on their, it'll go to a main page on their website, right? When the person veers off and you don't know whether they phoned a number, you don't know if they took an action. So what we've really tried to do with our system is, without having to require any coding, set it up so that that page is content ready. It pulls in your information about your clinic. If somebody dials a number at the top, it's automatically connected. If they fill in the form, we automatically connect it to your drip campaign system, right? And just completely, tie up all of those loose ends. But from a landing page, style standpoint, we do have other examples. Like we have this, running one, for example. This one is purely, all about the form, right? So we do have different styles. And it may be for certain topics, going after just download the ebook. We know that there's certain businesses and clinics that like that style. So we do support different styles. Personally, I'm a fan of always having things like your phone number on the page or some mechanism to get onto a call and making sure that's tracked, because you ultimately want to, not lose those people that may be closer to the bottom of the funnel who may look at this and go, I'd like to talk to you, but I'm not really here for, an ebook. But you'll find there's a whole bunch of other larger part of the population who's actually just in the process of kind of figuring things out, researching and learning. And for those people, that this is a perfect type of presentation. So I think you need to have a bit of both, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's our lead page editor. Now this is a demo account, so we don't have ads up and running, but to show you what you'll expect, if you're running ad campaigns with LeadAutom8r, we bring all of the reporting mechanisms into view. So if you're running a running campaign ad, you'll know what your clicks, compressions, your dollar spend is, conversions, cost per lead, what the phone calls were. If we're doing live chat, we'll pull that data in. Your conversion rate. So everything will appear in here from a conversion and cost per lead standpoint. And I think the last thing we'll go into here is clinic events. So this is where we talked about the fact that, so events are all also connected to, there's two different types of events. You can have seminars or clinics, so you're going to invite a whole number of people to. So the idea would be, if you're running a back pain workshop, you would set that up as an event. And then when you've created an event, we simply say, what's my trigger for that event? So if somebody signs up, we're going to run a campaign, and we would select the campaign that's been built, the drip campaign for that particular workshop. That would be the style of event that has a middle starting point. It's got emails that go out a week before, 2 weeks before, 2 days before, 4 hours before, right? And then a series that would come out after. But then you have your patient events. So for example, your onboarding and your nurture style events. And Jarod, I know you use Full Slate. So we have an integration with Full Slate for those events. So let's say it was a phone consult, for example. We can do a couple of things. So we can say, what is the campaign we want to run? We would pick the campaign for phone consult. And we can automatically register people into those based on the Full Slate integration. And this is something we plan on expanding into, various softwares and EMR services. But the idea is, this list that you see, we didn't input this. This gets sucked out of your Full Slate account in terms of the services that you would be offering. So we'd pick, which it is. And our software is continually querying your Full Slate account. So if we pick up a new appointment for a phone consultation or a new appointment for a first visit, then we will immediately register that event back to this event type and look up, well, what is the campaign we want to trigger, right? And then it'll immediately start sending the people the emails that go out time triggered ahead of time, as well as time delayed after.
And then, I'll just for those who don't know, Full Slate is an online booking system. It's just an online calendar where our patients can book online, or we can put them in manually. We've got links to different parts of bookings in all those follow-up emails, whether it's I'm trying to get them to do a free consultation on the phone, or a discovery session, or a running analysis, or whatever the case may be. It's all just quick and easy through Full Slate. And then whenever that stuff happens, like he's describing, it'll trigger the campaigns within PatientSites to then follow up appropriately. Right.
Yeah. So ultimately, the takeaway is, you've got this very robust campaign system, which will, as we talked about in the case of onboarding, trigger various events before and after. And, you can get into this from a lead box. You can get into it from a lead page. You can get into it from, as a clinic, if you've talked to somebody on the phone and you want to manually add somebody, we have a customer section where we can register one person from an offline event. And we can also trigger it based on automatic activity that's happening in your scheduling system. So in your case, it's Full Slate. And that's the functionality we plan on making available to other EMR companies. That there will be some work involved in getting those set up. Our objective is to expand the support base so that we can automatically be firing these event-based communications based on patient bookings and patient activity.
And right now, can they just enter in a date for that person's new patient, or say their first appointment, if that's the case here? Can they enter that in, and it'll still trigger the campaign? Yeah.
Yep, so it can be done. It can be done
on the phone. You got them on the phone. They're ready to go. You put them into your EMR. Maybe it's not synced with PatientSites right yet. Yep. But then you just simply put the data in there, and it's going to trigger their own campaign.
Yep. So that's done from our customer section, right? So I've got you're in here. This is a test account. So I can go in here and run an event for a customer. So I picked a customer, and I can schedule the event. Well, in this test account, we've got running workshop set up. But we can also go in and we can set it to be, we can schedule it for a specific date, specific time, right? And that would be based on whatever the customer's booked, and those campaigns will run accordingly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's the tour of LeadAutom8r. And listen, we really are in. I'd say we're coming out of our beta phase. We have a number of clinics that we're working with. We're seeing some good results, and we're really on a mission, right, to continue rounding out the edges, tightly integrating a system that allows a clinic owner, again, back to why are we doing this, right? I think we've built some pretty cool tools, some innovative technology, some things that work really tightly. But I always, with our team, we elevate the discussion back to why are we doing what we're doing, right? And it's not about, the cool features and you automatically put in the phone thing and it changes the phone number. That makes things work well. Why we're doing this is to try and build a system that's all about cooperation, collaboration. Like you look at what makes the web work, right? The Wikipedias of the world, the systems that are all built around, going faster, collaboration, right? Mass improvement. It doesn't make any sense to me when you look at what we put together that clinics are spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars building their own deployment of what you're seeing here from a content standpoint, and then asking, well, what, advertising is not working because it's costing you too much money to get a lead, right?
Right.
What we're deploying is regionally exclusive. So if you sign up for a content pack with us, your competitor is not going to be running the same content pack. That has to be a core value proposition and a core, aspect to what we're doing here. But if there's, 50 other clinics that are using that same content pack and we're able to advance the performance based on what we're monitoring across all of those, we move faster, we get smarter, we make, improve changes, and do it at a much lower cost that allows and I'm not saying we want to see clinics cut their marketing budget, but if we can get more of your budget going to generating your marketing activity versus building, your own custom things that then you don't have enough dollars left to spend on ads, who wins, right? The agencies win, you do it that way. Right.
And I was a do-it-yourselfer, and I'll just speak to that because you're the guy with the platform, but I'm the guy who actually did spend the thousands of dollars, and I'll just give some examples. I spent over $4,000 to get these types of campaigns set up in Infusionsoft with certain tracking and activity triggers. I've spent $300 a month on Infusionsoft along the way, and literally probably hundreds of hours creating the emails, the videos that are in the emails, tweaking things, going back and forth with this agency. At the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised if I was in it for $8,000 easily, plus hundreds of hours. And now luckily, I wish y'all had this a few years ago. It would have saved me so much time and money. But, all that work that I did on my end as far as creating those campaigns, we have loaded here, for subscription, which is great. I'm pumped to see it all come together. It does. It makes me cringe at how much time and money I put into creating all these lead generation systems, when now they're available so much cheaper and done for you. It's like, right. I'm jealous. But it's all part of the process. So what you guys have created here is freaking awesome. It's just fantastic. So some of the logistics. So if someone is really interested, what's the best way? Should they reach out to you guys directly to set up a call, or is there a website that you'd like them to visit, or how do you?
Yeah, absolutely.
How would you like to
best bet would be if you go to our site at PatientSites.com. And there's a tab at the top for LeadAutom8r. Okay. If you want to give us a call, we're happy to do a webinar and take you through it. We also are very hands-on. So, we work with clinics and helping them to get things customized and get them up and running. As I said, the cost structure, the whole platform is $200 a month. And that includes, you've got the ability to use all the tools we've showed you today, similar to you would in an Infusionsoft, to build your own campaigns should you want to do so. Within that structure, we're including one of our content packs, which are worth $50 a month to come with advertising. And any additional content packs of $50 a month. We're testing out a different idea too, and we'll see, how, one of the things we do here is we test a lot, right? And, now when you do that, you often have to make some changes along the way. But for clinics that are looking to just try things out and get started, we're also building a kind of a sampler pack, right? There won't be the whole back-end system you're seeing here. But if somebody comes and says, you know what, I want to dip my toe into online ads, we're going to have a solution that will allow you to run a general campaign. It can go to a specific page on your website at a much lower cost. So it might be, $25, $50 a month, right? For the managed campaign. And if your budget's only $150, I would say to you the same thing. If for some reason you want to test ads and you don't have a lot of money to spend, it doesn't even make sense to spend $200 a month on a platform that we think has really brought everything together really well. So we're going to have ways for you to kind of test the water. But ultimately, there's a point where if you're really serious about lead generation and marketing automation, you have to allocate enough budget to actually spend some dollars on advertising, right? So $200 a month is our platform fee, but we will have ways to do some sampler program for maybe new startup clinics that are, trying to generate some leads but manage their budget at the same time, right?
Great. And then as those who listen to my podcast know that, mention that you found LeadAutom8r and you found PatientSites from me or from the podcast. And there's some nice, setup fee discounts and they apply.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great. So just go to PatientSites.com, look for the tab that says LeadAutom8r, and then that will kind of take them from there. They'll have the ability to connect with you guys and look a little deeper. Great. Well, thank you so much. I've been so excited as you started to tell me about this last year and showing me the beta versions, and I was like, holy crap, man, this is going to be incredible. And you guys have I'm just so excited about what you guys are doing.
So are we, but you know what, Jarod,
yeah.
We've met a couple of times over the years, physically and many times virtually. You've given us a lot of good thought starters, some probing questions, and you've been a big part of the path that we've been on and helped giving us some direction and some suggestions that have got us here.
Awesome.
So, and I don't think we're like most of your listeners, we're entrepreneurs, right? And you never arrive. So I think what you're looking at now is not what you were looking at 2 months ago, and it's not what you'll be looking at 2 months from now. So, we're here to partner with you and create this almost a cooperative, right? And in fact, if you've got listeners who, are thought leaders in specific disciplines or areas of treatment, as you see, the content packs here have also been produced by various clinic owners. We're also open to having other people come in and be part of the cooperative in that sense and create content packs. So if there's any listeners that want to have that conversation, we'd be happy to talk to.
Awesome. Yes, I plan on creating some more content packs here as well. So
right.
Thank you so much for your time. And PatientSites.com if you're interested in what you've seen and getting more details. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jarod.